This one's a rough one for me because in order to get it through to you, I need to expose myself. Whoever you thought you were is not who you have to be. This is about beliefs. The things we have chosen to believe. And we didn't know we chose it. I would rage against the void and say, I didn't choose that. It is what it is. But on some level, we do choose. We hear things about ourselves, we think things about ourselves, and it becomes true for us. The reason I say it's a choice is because it doesn't have to be true. You can change it. It is not who you are, no matter how long you've believed it was. The beliefs that we have, they lead to our expectations of how things are going to turn out. And those expectations directly lead to our outcomes. But I'll get into that. When I was little, I thought I was unlikable, unlovable, that I couldn't have friends, that there was inherently something wrong with me. I think it came from teasing. You know, my mom loved me well enough, but my father just wasn't around. They just, they didn't have a relationship at all. And so I came into the world thinking that there must have been some reason that I didn't have a father, and it must have been me. Now, that wasn't a particularly conscious thought. But when I hit grade school and I got caught picking my nose one time, kindergarten, and I got made fun of pretty bad, and I just figured that I must be the worst person. I was disgusting. I was unlikable. And so I didn't talk to other people. I didn't connect with the other kids. I really stayed to myself. I hid. No one talked to me. I didn't give them any reason to. Years later, I realized that everyone is so interested in, I should say, they're so focused inwardly that they weren't worrying about me. They were worrying about themselves. If I had believed that I was likable or fun or friendly, then what I expected would have been that people would have connected with me, and I might have gone around and said to people, hey man, I hope you have a great day. You're awesome. And they would have received it. They would have reciprocated it. I would have had friends. I would have been, popular is not the word. I would have been able to affect the world around me in a positive way. Now, I did learn this lesson. I did. It took a long time. It took a really long time for me. And I want to help you cut down that time. I want you to be able to see the power of changing your expectations. I remember when I was 19, I was was a punk rock kid. And I didn't interact in quote unquote normal society. Everybody I knew were street kids, outsiders, outcasts, outlaws. But I had a girlfriend, and she wanted to go to Applebee's. We went to Applebee's. At the door, I froze, some kind of panic attack, and I said, I can't go in there. She asked me why. I replied that that sort of place wasn't for people like me. Her response was that normal people go to Applebee's. Are you so thoroughly entrenched in believing you're some kind of outcast that you can't go to Applebee's? Are you serious? But I was serious. When I was 25, I had seen some interesting changes. Up until that point, I had thought I was weak, I was skinny. The only way people would like me is if I was fake, if I performed. But I had really serious life events happen to me around 25. I got incarcerated. And at some point, while sitting in a cell during that 6 months, it occurred to me that this had happened because of my thoughts. I thought often about how angry I was, about how much I had been victimized, about how weak I was, about how strong and tough I needed to be to overcome people who had victimized me. I surrounded myself with imagery and mental constructs that reinforced this belief that I had. And I can look back clearly now and say that those beliefs came directly from that childhood expectation that people wouldn't like me. Directly from middle school, feeling like I was a victim. Directly from high school, directly into my young adulthood. I was actually in control. And for the first time in my life, I decided that I could change. So those beliefs that I had, they came from destructive criticism. People who are cruel to me, mean to me. You know, they say when you're little, especially under the age of 7, you can't differentiate between valid and invalid criticism. I came to think so poorly of myself, I just accepted it as being true. What that did was it led me to, from belief to expectation. I just expected things to work out badly. I expected people wouldn't talk to me, people wouldn't like me, and sure enough, they didn't. I wasn't going out of my way making friends. I wasn't going out of my way to talk to people or connect to people. When I was older, I expected trouble. I expected violence. Oh, and I found it. I expected things to work out badly for myself financially. So I was poor. I didn't go look for a good job. I didn't go to college because I thought that kind of money wasn't for people like me. It's really fascinating to me how the things we believe, sometimes based on totally false information. People say things to you, your parents, your friends, a mentor, sometimes for good, and you believe wonderful things about yourself, and sometimes for bad. Those beliefs directly affect how well we think things are going to turn out. That, my friends, leads me to the outcomes, our attitude of how we went into a situation. Despite how I felt about being unlikable and unlovable, and that violence and terrible things might happen. In that context, those things did happen. But I also came to believe, for whatever reason, that when I was on stage, people connected with me. And so when I hit the stage, everyone in the room got up to dance. Didn't matter who they were or where they were, they got up and they danced because I was a rock star. And the people who saw me knew it and they believed it because I believed it. I expected people to get up. I expected people to have fun, and they did. Every time. Belief from true or false information to expectations. What we go into a situation thinking. How outcomes are going to play out for us. And outcomes, our attitude going into it, how it affects what plays out. After I got out of my time in county, I gave myself a new lease on life. I had made a decision. The same decision that I want you to make. I decided I wasn't a victim to my own mind anymore. It was my life. I got to choose. So I made some new decisions. I went out into the world. I talked to new people. I connected to new people. And it was hard. Sometimes I'd slip back into those old habits of thinking. And I would find myself mentally back where I had been, and I had to catch myself and say, Alex, this isn't true. This isn't you. But I drove forward. I learned, I listened to things just like what I'm giving you. I changed the foundation of what I thought about myself and who I thought I could be. It changed how I thought things were going to work out. And that changed what happened to me. How to create new beliefs. The first thing you have to do is challenge the old ones. You must look at them and you must analyze them and ask yourself the question, is this true? Has it become true? Is it innately who I am? Or is it a learned pattern of behaviors that I can change? It's almost always the latter. Anything you don't like about yourself, you can change if you approach it with conviction. Whether you think you're always in pain, whether you think you're unlovable, it becomes true, a self-fulfilling prophecy. I heard a story about these college graduates, fancy universities. They wanted to look at grade point average and lifetime earnings. It was a 30-year study, and at the end, there appeared to be no correlation between grade point averages at all. The only correlation that they could find was that the people who did the best, who made the most money, had the best careers, went into it assuming that they would. It's a very powerful thing. There are probably examples that you have in your life of things that just you feel good at, you feel good about. These little governing factors. Maybe you think you're a good driver. Maybe you think you're a good cook. You end up enjoying those things. You get good at it. You enjoy it more. Things you're bad at, you tend not to enjoy, you don't engage with. This is the heart and soul of this program. That whoever you thought you were is not who you have to be. I want you to write down in 2 columns what you feel are your great weaknesses, the things about yourself that you don't like, the things you wish you could change, the things that were told to you by your parents or your friends. And I want you to go through them one by one, asking yourself the question, is this true? Where did it come from? And why do I believe it? It may be a painful process. But in the other column, I want you to write down what you feel you're good at, what you believe you're excellent at, what you have the most fun doing. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Why do I believe that? Is it true? Whether you think you can or you can't, it becomes true to you. We are fortune tellers. We are magicians. We are constantly making our own destinies come true. When you understand that what you believe becomes your expectation of outcomes, which become your attitudes, and they do create those outcomes, you will be free to change your life. And I challenge you to be willing to cut away anything from yourself that is not consistent with who you want to be. Think about who you want to be, not just what, but who. Is this the man or the woman you want to be? Is this who you are really? all those self-limiting beliefs. Challenge them, question them. And if that's not who you want to be, then throw them away. Banish them. Expose them. Look at them honestly. And then you can step forward. Looking at what's hard about ourselves. Give yourself love and empathy. It wasn't your fault. Fault is a past that you cannot change. But it is your responsibility. Your ability to choose how you respond. And that creates a future that you are in control of. We're going to take control. We're going to make our lives what we want them to be.